Wait a minute. That's not what it's like to work here. That recruiting video's just a hunk of shit.
What's up, everybody? Good morning, Jelly. You were quick off the draw to get on this morning, so glad you're here, bud. Sorry it was running a little bit late. I had a phone call with my mother this morning, and it took a little longer than expected. And the moment I went to boot my PC up, it decided it didn't want to load Star Citizen. It was giving me all kinds of connection errors, so it took me a little bit of time to troubleshoot it. So what's up with you this morning, bud? Jelly? Oh, there we go. All right. Just doing some of the coding schoolwork. Oh, okay. That's all good. What classes are you taking right now? Because today is going to be a very kickback, lazy day. I've got my niece's birthday party this afternoon, so not going for an extremely long stream like I did yesterday. Modern JavaScript tools. Okay. Ain't nothing wrong with learning that kind of stuff. My son had to go through that a few, like about 2 semesters ago, actually. This coming semester, he's got some relational database class that he has to take at this point, but we'll see how it rolls out. I know he's ready to be done with school. Yeah, that's the funny thing is I'm actually learning Python. I'm doing the whole self-taught aspect of it. Um, I know it's a pretty simple language, and I've been able to do some basic coding and, print commands, things like that, and um, user input commands, those kinds of things. Um, so, I mean, if I can pick it up, and I'm not even really a programmer, if I can pick it up, then I think most people can. Um, I definitely see the appeal because of how simple it is. It doesn't seem to have all kinds of crazy syntax to it. I mean, to me, it felt more like writing it. I did a. Okay, so full disclosure, I did like just to see if I could do it, a Mad Lib, and I ended up creating a Mad Lib using Python and had a blast doing it just because it was almost like writing a technical document, and that was it. It was pretty straightforward, and that's the way that programming language felt to me. So, Jelly, how do you think yesterday's stream went, bud? I'm actually feeling pretty good about it. And forgive me if I'm not talking a whole absolute ton this morning. Like I said, yesterday's stream went way longer than I had ever really intended for it to go, and did a lot of talking. My voice is kind of killing me at this point. Then when my wife got home last night, she wanted to talk again because we hadn't seen each other in a couple days at this point with her having to work. I was kind of like I was toying with the whole. All right, no big deal. I'm giving you the cash anyway. It is a Cutlass Black giveaway, but it was really kind of the whole thing of when he told me he's like brand new to the game and he and his friends are trying to work out and want to get into trading and that kind of stuff. It really was a. I didn't want him to make the same mistake that I think, and I don't really think it was a true mistake, but it was. I went for the Freelancer Max, and although it's a great trading vessel, you're still finding yourself in a position where you still want the Caterpillar. So if you're going to wipe out all of your cash in order to be able to get a Freelancer Max, it's one thing to be given one, but if you're going to wipe out your cash to get a Freelancer Max, there's better ways that it could happen, right? So I was kind of shocked that he didn't catch on to the cash amount until after it was all said and done. Yeah, dude, you bringing that Prowler in freaked the crap out of me, brother. Because just about every other time I've seen a Prowler in game, it's kind of like bad business, bad news, right? Well, I don't want people to get in here, and I don't want people to get into the community and be like, okay, well, let me just troll like they do in World of Warcraft or, Eve or some of these other games. It's not really cool when, we're all here to have fun, and all that somebody wants to do is just be a dick, right? Um, so I like the fact that, like, in general, when I come across a bunch of new people, teaching them something about the game, right? Giving them an opportunity to see it in for what it is instead of just waiting and trying to figure it all out and getting pissed off because they've lost all their money, all their funds constantly, you know? So like even this morning, normally what I'll try and do is I'll try and log in and get the stream set up as far as get into the locations I want, get all my ships requested for claims and such. But with what was happening this morning and the disconnection errors and the PC stuff and my mom calling, it was like, all right, I just got to fly over there and get ready. Because all the chat this week about everybody wanting to know what the best starter ship is and how to be able to get funds and stuff like that, it kind of had me feeling like I needed to bust the prospector back out for a little bit, have a little bit of fun, just messing around with it, maybe do some basics of mining so that folks who decide to rent one can get into it and understand what they're looking for. Still make money out of it instead of fidgeting around for 3 or 4 days before they figure it out. So, guess that's kind of what I'm going to do this morning. Morning, Luke. Um, Lair Area 18, just entering hangar. Luke, I have had it happen quite a bit. Usually it's when I'm doing the exact same thing. Okay, and I'm not talking about Area 18, but one of my favorite trade routes has been in the past diamonds coming off of Tram and Myers at Sealand and flying it out to Levski. And if there's an OM1 jump, and every time I would take that OM1 jump, my ship would explode. Um, I have had a few times on stream where I've been in quantum and my ship will explode for no reason. Um, I've had other times where I've tried to, just like what you're saying, not Area 18, but other ports where I've come in and just before I get to the point where I'm going to land, the ship will explode. And I can't explain it. I can't tell you what's happening. There's something that's happening on the database side and the server side that is causing that explosion. And I really don't know what it is. I'll get disabled so I can actually fire people in the prowler. Uh, yeah. You know what, Jelly? I think there's gonna be. I think that's gonna be not only a good day but a bad day because me as a primary trader in the verse, it's gonna suck because people are gonna come in and they're gonna target caterpillars, they're gonna target big cargo ships, and they're just gonna be going after people left and right so that they can disable and do what they can do and steal and whatnot. It'll be a great day for pirates. I may have to dip my foot in that water, but we'll see. Um, it is what it is. There's a lot of potential right now, and that's what keeps me coming back day after day after day in this game. There's just so much potential for it, and things that as they unlock with new programming stints, that it'll just be absolutely fantastic. Now, the only other thing that I can think of, Luke, and I don't know because I wasn't there, is it is always possible that as you were coming in for a landing, you may have had another desynced ship that actually came in and hit you. It is possible because they may not have seen you. One of the things that happened to me the other day as I was playing, and it wasn't on stream, but one of the things that happened to me the other day is that as I was coming in, the landing services put me in a hangar that already had a ship in it. And I ended up, as I got closer, the image disappeared, and I went to land in there, and the ship landed all funny. The Caterpillar landed funny and sideways, and then I ended up having to claim the ship and and had a repair bill when I first looked at it. So I ended up just going ahead and claiming the ship because, again, I didn't see a ship under there because it disappeared on the approach. So random stupid stuff like that just happens. It's an alpha, so I mean that's also a possibility rather than just a standard just it blew up. Yes, sir. Anything is possible in Star Citizen. I have come to realize that and embrace that fact. So, like I said, guys, this morning I was having some PC issues and trying to get logged in, and all other kinds of things went a little bit crazy. So, realistically, I am just heading over to Port Olisar so that I can grab my prospector, and I'm gonna go out and do some mining at Yela. Show you one of my favorite places to go, one of my favorite things to do when it comes to mining, how I mine, how I make money. So outside of just trading in the verse, and kind of try and make sense of some of those guides that are out there for people. So I know that some people are going to like it, some people aren't. I know most people come here for trading advice, and I'm happy to give trading advice, but Saturday is usually my goof off day and just kind of play around, have a little fun, do something a little different. Because during the week I want to explore trade routes and then I want to farm up cash so that I can be able to handle my big giveaways like I do on Fridays. Well, good old mining is the best way to get yourself some startup capital in the game. And in some cases, it's the best way in order for you to be able to farm some pretty basic ships that'll get you started and get you rolling in the game in other aspects. See, I like trading when it comes to the fact that you're pretty much constantly in motion. You've got something going on. Um, what I run into with mining is, although you do have stuff going on, and you're a little bit more interactive at the moment that you're doing stuff, um, mining can just feel like you're just out there just casually doing nothing. Even though you're not, it can just feel like it. Especially if you come across a dry spell. If you come across a dry spell where you're flying for 10 or 15 minutes, that's when most people will lose interest in it. But I guess I'm kind of that player of, okay, well, what's over the next ridge? Okay, nothing there. What's over the next ridge? Okay. Person sent me a contact request. All right, well, not a problem. Let's see if it'll take it. There we go. Come on. Accept it. There we go. They need to fix that. Alright, so prospector. Let's yank that bad boy out. So full disclosure, guys, I do have a Helix mining head on this ship. So I can bust open pretty much any rock in the game. It's not just set up as a basic ship. But I have no other upgrades on here, no other consumables, nothing like that. Um, Jelly, I will tell you now, before 3.9 dropped, when I did a significant portion of my mining, okay? Um, I will tell you the logic, and that's why I like Yila so much. And a lot of people will default by saying, go to Yila, okay? Um, there are some methods that you can do in order to be able to check stuff out, but there's rocks that I don't even look at. Once I see them, um, there's just no point. I won't even go any further than get the initial scan on it. So I can show you what I look for and how I look for it, because to me it helped me speed up my mining and help me be a little bit more selective. So we'll get out there real quick and I'll show you what I'm talking about, because trying to explain it other than explaining it why I'm showing it will sometimes be it'll lose in translation. Jelly, I have never had that happen. I have never scanned a rock, come back to it, and then it's a different rock. That, I don't know what the heck is going on with your login at that point. Um, Now, I've gone into a location where some rocks didn't register and all of a sudden secondary rocks popped up, but not rescan the same one. Alright, so first off, like I said, got a couple people that this is going to be their cup of tea, a couple others that this isn't going to be, so it is what it is. But I will tell you that when I initially go mining, my first thought is to come here to Yila. And then I am looking for Benson's mining outpost, okay? Now, the reality is, I want to make sure that when I'm mining on the sunny side of the system. Wow, Benson wants to be hidden today. Where are you at? There you are. So that looks like it's on the other side of the planet. We'll go ahead and give it a shot. All right. I'm not seeing them either, Luke. I think they moved that more towards a you have to do the tunnel or the cave missions, or you have to go to some of the designated places that you can go out and do hand mining on. Morning, Anderson. How you doing today? Um, this morning I am just BSing around, and I'm going to have some fun before I go to my niece's birthday party. We talked about the prospector all week, so I'm pulling it back out. So I'm here at Benson, and one of the things that I like doing when I do this is I will look for the rings, and I'll look for these mountain ranges. Okay? And then what I'll do is I'll make a planetary dive for one of the edges of these mountain ranges, and then I'll head towards the rings. We'll check it out at some point in time, Anderson. I'm just kind of giving everybody a rundown of, how I go through my mining. But we will definitely run out to some rings at some point in time here pretty soon. All right. So as I get down to maybe about 1500 in altitude, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and back my throttle set, my max throttle, down to about 3/4. Okay? And I found that the slower that you go, the better off that you usually are when it comes to your sensor pings. So let me turn off my chat, and then what I'm going to do is click over to my sensor suite. Alright, now this is easier in the day, and when we hit an area that has daylight, I'll show you why it's easier in the day. But I leave my sensor ping as large as it possibly can be. Anderson, I don't use any consumables. I straight up mine. I play with control over my laser head. Alright, so luckily enough, right here on the edge of one of these little mountain ranges, obviously we just clicked into our first ping, so we did get lucky on this particular one. Oh, I will. My lights will come on in a second. Lights. So this is what we want to see. Sometimes on these mountain ridges, this is what we want to get into initially. So it's a promising site, right? Now, what I'll usually do is for quick scans, I'll go ahead and jump over. Obviously, right off the bat, there's a quantanium deposit. There's another quantanium, but they're all really, really low at this point. That's a good rock. Alright, so the only one that I'm really worried about busting open right here is this particular one. Alright, and again, that's because all the other quantaniums are either small rocks or the percentage is extremely low, and then the offshoot material really isn't worth it. So for me, yep, that's true, Jelly, but the reality is that the only thing that I'm willing to go after at this point, because of the amount of funds that it'll generate, is the good one. I'm not going to spend my time fighting these narrow rock energies to go through it. Morning, Ethan. Been a little bit since we've seen you on, buddy. So let's go ahead and start getting some energy transfer sitting in here. That stability of 6.05 is ridiculous. So, guys, I won't be looking over at chat as I'm breaking this rock because I'm going to have to play with the energy levels here and be very, very cautious as I do it. So once I get to a point where it looks like my laser's stable, I'll just creep in a little closer. And then if it starts rising a little too much, I creep out just a touch. Keep that just feathering. And then if it spikes like that, I'll go ahead and drop the laser. Because by the time it gets there, it's going to crack. So yeah, not too much of an issue when you're really careful about. So like this one, the barrel and the quartz and the only 0.94, that's not worth it. Barrel and quartz, not worth it. There's my good chunk of quantium. Let's see what else we got here. Alright, so yeah, because of the value here, I will go ahead and take that one, but I'm going to finish breaking everything down, the pieces that I want to collect before I ever do anything. Good morning, Inno. How you doing today? So again, bear with me because these rocks get really touchy trying to bust open these particular ones. Patience is definitely a virtue when you're dealing with these guys. And I know this is typically where most people are going to use their consumables to try and give themselves a much better target zone to work with. But to me, I'd rather really learn to control very well how my sensors, or how my mining laser works. Which apparently, it's wanting to power down pretty easily today. So that's fine. Let you feather. Take you down, feather you back up. That'll come back down. And there we go, all of our little pieces. So I'm going to back off just a little bit and break the next one down that I need to break down. Yeah, I mean, if you're really careful, guys, you don't have to have all the consumables. Now, if you've got a mole and you got people that are in there that you don't know, and you know, there are times when it's just like, no, go ahead and use the consumables, but you got to be very picky about what you pick up off the ground. But when it's just me and I'm on a prospector like this is all I'm going to do. I'm just going to be very cautious with what I do power-wise and distance-wise, because you can find a sweet spot on any rock. Oops. So we're a little high. We're overcharging pretty good. So I'm going to back off of this sucker because it looks like it has a good chance of popping. There we go. Alright. Wow, Mr. Prospector, would you like to stop this morning? All right, let's get ourselves reset, because I did over throttle that one just a little bit. But that's exactly how you get away from it, and you deal with it when stuff like that starts to take place. You just back off and make it happen. A little bit of overcharge is not going to hurt you too much. A lot will be a problem. Now, see, personally, I prefer like Agresium rocks and stuff like that. Wonder why my throttle keeps dropping. Alright, this one wants to be a pain. There we go. Alright. Let's drop that. We just gotta bust this rock. Then we'll be on our way. It won't take 30 minutes, but for whatever reason, this one's just being a real nightmare. It's like when I'm trying to back off the laser a little bit, it wants to back it off fully. See, that server lag's actually happening right now. That's gonna pop. It's fine. Our shields never went below 30. So now we've got everything ready to grab, which means we just need to find our rocks. Suck it all up and head on back in. Now, Quantanium, I usually take the rocks regardless of what, what percentage they are once I have them fully broken down. Obviously, the better your percentages are, the more you're gonna make from them. Let's get back in here and go ahead and grab our chunks. Morning, Red Dragon. So this should top off everything that we need, and then just because I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and grab the miscellaneous that's sitting there. Because we did have some other chunks that flew a little bit, and we should be alright there. Alright. So guys, rather than sit here and worry about, because I'm a 75% cargo and I have a full load of Quantanium, I'm not going to sit there and try and bust something open again. At this point, I'm going to make my beeline real quick, real back to Port Olisar. Just simply because I want to offload this and not run the risk of losing out on the funds that I just made from this. So, Quantium is the only material that I do this with. And, okay, well, we're going to have to make a micro jump. It's a good thing I checked. So while we're jumping back, now I got a chance to kind of catch up with a few things here on chat. Like I said, whenever I'm mining Quantium, I really just don't Quantanium. I gotta pay full pure attention to it, or it's absolutely hilarious that it just blows you up. No unobtainium yet. We'll find out when they decide to add something like that. Let's see. So back to now. Let's see if it'll actually give us a good clean route. That it will. Normally, in full disclosure, when I'm out here at Yila, I'm really truly just hunting for a Grecium, and I'm usually just hunting for the few little Laranite nodes that will pop up from time to time. I'm not really ever trying to go specifically after the Quantium. Okay? Um, I guess it's, again, since it's such a new material, I just haven't spent a whole ton of time in my prospector lately. Um, but yeah, even at 14 to 15% of a 3,000, mass rock, that thing's going to be worth a pretty good chunk of change. So there's no point in trying to fight with it, trying to squeeze an extra few, AUEC out and risk losing the overall load itself. Now, when it comes to agresium and titanium, things like that, I am significantly more picky about what I do put into the ship. And I'll tell you, man, flying the smaller ship again, it's really, after putting a whole lot of hours in with the caterpillars and stuff, flying the smaller ship again is proven to be a little bit of a challenge. It's so much more nimble. And that's not usually a word you use with a prospector, is nimble. Alright, so basically, let's go in and find out what our rock is worth. We'd like to continue to do that dance. Let's exit ship. So this will probably be a good example of just what happens if you drop in just the right spot. I mean, I could have gone through all those other rocks and I could have busted them up even though they were 1%, Quantaniums, but the reality is that I probably would have picked up one more chunk before it did anything for me, because I would have had so much inert material. It still would have been worth it, but, hey, not worth the time of breaking it. Alright, so that one drop, that real quick, and to be honest, that was probably, 15 minutes total of just being sitting there? It's 50K, alright? And 34% of my overall was still sitting in inert materials. But just look how much you can make off of the Quantanium. It's ridiculously stupid. So, if we're talking, just a standard mining run, Jelly, yeah, that's actually a pretty good run. If we're talking people who are only worried about min-maxing what they're going to get on the machine, Why did that just happen? Come on, reset. Oh shit. Before I continue, is anybody else watching what I'm watching? Do I now have a golden prospector? No. Okay. Something glitched out there. It wasn't just me. All right. I'm gonna be the first one to say, thank you for saying that it happens, and Jelly, thank you for saying it happens a lot, because after what happened with the caterpillar the other day, that's one that I hate to say it. It's funny when it happens right off the bat, but it's not something I really continue to want to see, because all that's going to lead to is you know RSI deciding that they need to wipe everybody's accounts. Yeah, and Anderson, that's all I did. Is I blew everything down to its most basic chunk that I wanted to take with me, and that's it. My free look is going nuts. All right, so let's head back to Yila. This time, I don't think we don't have as much of a chance at dropping in on a Quantanium node. So typically, guys, there's a guide that I used when I first started mining. Okay, and let me grab it here and pull it up. So where was it? There it is. All right. So it's Space for Games, right? And it goes through a whole bunch of details about mining. But I'm just going to quickly scroll down because there's one section of it that I like to use that makes the most sense to people. It's this list: Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, and Tier 4. Okay? These percentages are pretty good, except I will say, even if it's 35%, ignore this. It's just, you only want to go after Tier 1 and Tier 2 if you're trying to mine for banking up purposes. Alright, I want to find a location that's on the daylight side of the planet right here and over snow. So we're going to go to the research post. And I have to fix my chat block because it got hidden when I did that. There we go. So yeah, that one ultimate guide that I go to, and I use as a reference tool when I'm mining, it's really good from a standpoint of you get a lot of information, especially for people who are just having to learn how to FPS hand mine. And now what we're going to do is we're going to chase the sun. So now I'm going to go ahead and drop back in, and you see this ridge, this partial ridge line that we're coming up over right here, and it's really hard to see just off to the left of my screen. That's what I want to drop in on, and I want to head towards those mountains in the distance where the sun's at. So as I get back down to 1500, drop down to 3/4, pop in my full wide spectrum, and go ahead and start the search. Now, when we hit daylight, my technique changes just slightly. Now, one of the things that I've noticed as I was going through and mining and doing a whole lot of mining, and you'll see some sensor pings that will misfire here, but don't aim directly at the ground like this. Okay, what you want to do is you want to aim just towards the horizon. One, because it's going to keep your ship flying right, but two, because it's going to interact with the big giant the boxes here, right? So that ping hits the box, and that's what tells the PC that that's where it's at. And if you're aiming directly at the ground, it can't hit that box that's in the sky. Let's see. You're probably it right there. So now, you see how this one reads as a granite deposit right off the bat? Okay, perfect rock. I'm absolutely astounded and love this rock to death. This is a good amount of greasium, a good amount of laranite. It's got a good mass to it. This thing is absolutely fantastic from a mining perspective. Now, also though, if you check, the instability on this rock is a little bit high. So we do have to be careful with this particular one as well. But once we get it broken down, this rock is worth some serious money. So typically, you'll see me take a little bit of time here throttling up my laser. I learned my lesson the hard way, because a lot of people will just, yeah. Valuable rock equals pain in the butt to mine. Yes, it does. Normally, you'll see a lot of people that just quickly slam the laser all the way up, and then what'll happen is that rock energy will get out of control on you real fast. I've lost more prospectors having to do it that way, or doing it that way, than I care to admit to. And then once you get a good, slow, steady rise, creep up on the rock a little bit. You'll get a better energy transfer into the rock. And this is the point in time where it's don't be in a rush to make this happen. If you're in a rush, you're going to run into problems. Find a good rock, camp on it, and call it a day. And before I throttle down my laser, once it hits the green, the first thing I'm going to do is back off the rock slightly. And you'll see that it stabilizes a lot more of the... Alright. Unless you get some server lag. But you'll see that it generally stabilizes the rock's energy a little bit better. Let's get ourselves back up there. Yes, it does, Anderson. Anytime you have agricium and laranite together, these rocks will blow up on you very easily. Wrong. Computer, really? The hell are you doing? We know we need to be up at about 96%. Alright, I'm going to move my mining laser to be over one of these little fractures that seems to be showing up right here. And that'll transfer your energy just a touch better. Hold steady. Let's drop that down. Yeah, we weren't overcharged, so that's kind of BS. I'm going to call that. But that's alright. So tungsten and corundum, I'm not worried about breaking that one down. Diamond and tungsten, not too worried about breaking that one down. There's our laranite. And more laranite. So here's our two first little huckleberries here. At least now they're not laranite and agricium together. Should be a little bit better to work on that. Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised. I'll say it this way. It looks like I've had two really good initial drops on a planet right off the bat. And that usually doesn't happen very often. Alright, so that one's fully broken down. Let's go ahead and move on to the other one here. Pop it down. So it usually is a very good thing to kind of get into that habit of just break the rocks, unless you have to pick something up before you in order to be able to get access to another piece of it. Just break the rocks before you actually start siphoning stuff up. It gets you in a good habit, especially when you have to deal with quantanium. Sorry. Now our agricium chunk flew off over there, or should have. We'll break that one down last. But one of the things that I want to show you is a lot of times when I'm out initially looking, I will ignore quartzonite deposits. I will ignore anything that says, unless it's a granite or a shale deposit. And now, obviously, quantanium deposits, right? Well, apparently the scan doesn't want to initiate. So like a tungsten 100%, if you go over to I don't care, it's a tier 4, I won't even touch it at 100%. It doesn't matter to me. Might as well be dead to me. Now, because this rock does equal 100 and it does have tungsten in it, I'm taking it for the laranite. Nope. 100% laranite chunk. That one's worth some good money. Alright, obviously we have this one that we couldn't scan a minute ago. Hopefully it'll pick it up. There it did. There's another 100%. Of course you're going to tell me that you're unstable. So that's inert. So we're going to go ahead and run over here, finish breaking this particular one down. Now, see, the last time I've been out in my prospector, this thing flashed because I had laranite and agricium on board, but it never blew up. It always went to the point where it got like it was going to be angry at me, but it didn't blow up. I have had it blow up on me with quantanium, though. That light just gets annoying as it keeps going at this point. Alright, so let's see what we got. So diamond, no good. Not at that percentage. Still low. That's the one we want. So a lot of people, especially when they first start mining, will get out here and they'll just immediately just start grabbing every chunk that they possibly can. That's really a bad way to go about it. Alright, I am going to go ahead and take that. This is lower percentage than I normally go ahead and go for, but I am going to go ahead and take it. at this point. Now all I'm looking for at this point, it's daylight. I want to shift to my other technique, right? So my other technique is I'm going to elevate myself up way off the ground, not too crazy. And what I'm looking for is off in the distance, near those ridges. Like you'll see some rocks that are isolated by themselves, right? And the system renders Red Dragon. It's not. It's not more profitable. But if you're in the game and you're a beginner in the game, or you need cash, it can be more profitable than other aspects. Okay. In general, it is safer though. Yes. So what I'm looking for is, if you look right here where I'm kind of scanning with the center of my screen on the horizon, I'm looking for any specks that look like they are black rocks, okay? Like right here at my crosshairs right now, and I'm going to move it. I want you to look, and there appears to be a rock way off there in the distance, right? So that's what I want to head for, because anything that is mineable will render on screen before before any of the surrounding rocks render. And yeah, Red Dragon, it is more work than trading. This is a little bit more of an interactive, function of the game. But you have the ability to make, if you're picky, 80 to 100 plus K in an hour, whereas somebody with a freelancer is going to struggle to make that exact same amount within an hour. Okay, and they also have to have 3, 4, 500,000 in funds to make it happen. So, like I said, you saw how there should be another rock that's way off in the distance right here, but we did happen to pop something right here en route. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got here. So it's another granite deposit, and this is almost 6% laranite, which is, again, another one of those thresholds. Anything over 5% of the tier 1 materials, like laranite, agricium, stuff like that, those are ones I'll go ahead and break down. And this is why you're seeing it right now, why I always keep coming back to Yila. Yes, there are other places and there's other things that can happen, but this is why I keep coming back to Yila. So let's see what's going to give me the best here so I can actually top off. So inert, nope. There's 21% laranite, which should be most of the laranite in the rock. It's 9.5. I'll leave that chunk for last just in case I need to top off with anything. So this is the only one that I'm worried about breaking down at this point. As you can see, a little bit of laser went a long way there. Now, if this ship blows up on me, you guys are going to see a situation where it's like I may be a little bit frustrated, because, again, that's a mechanic in the game where only thing that's supposed to be explosive is quantanium. So 85% laranite. Now, this is a typical node that I would usually go after. Anything that's above 75% in the tier 1 materials. Well, apparently everything is inert, which ain't cool. So we'll go ahead and grab that one. We're going to go ahead and top this bad boy off because we're so close to it being done anyway. There we go. And then we will head back. That's simple. And again, this is mining 101, dude. So Michael, I will definitely give you a go at that. I mean, I know that you can do a lot more. It seems to get a lot quicker in my scan when I do that. But I'll definitely do it as a comparison for you. Um, again, whenever I'm doing flybys, yes, I do believe that same thing. So again, we have no Quantanium on board. This ship should be completely stable, and hopefully we don't blow up. We'll see. We'll see if it works out once we're in the armistice zone. It'd really be sucky to get there and have something blow up and give me a crime stat because of, see, there it goes. It just flipped off. And that was before I entered the armistice zone. So yeah, that's another one of those nifty little fun bugs that they have to figure out and work on. But legitimately, guys, this is what I did to earn my Caterpillar right off the bat. This is all I did, was run to and from Yela and do this exact same technique over and over and over again. So to avoid the false readings, toggle between fracture and extraction mode. It kind of resets it. Alright, we'll try that. Next time that happens, we'll try it. Come on, ship? Really? Something weird is happening. It's like my keybinds are getting stuck. And I don't even have my voice attack or anything else on. So, I don't know. I can't explain it at the moment, guys. Fine, we'll get back in the chair and we'll try this again so we can try and get out. There it goes. And I don't know if you heard it. I heard it very subtly, but it sounded like some other ship just blew up out here. So, I definitely will tell you, again, mining for some people is not their cup of tea. It's not exciting. It can get really, really repetitive. So that's kind of one of those things where it's like, I enjoy the trading aspect a little bit more. But again, even dropping in on, one or two rocks, if you do it right. There's another 40k just right off the bat. And again, most of that was just because we found a laranite rock, right? It wasn't much on the agresium side. If I'm going to go out and I'm just going to say, hey, all I'm going to do is go after agresium and I'm going to be extremely picky, I could be out for 45 minutes. But I'll take a double sail every day. Matano, welcome to the stream. I don't think I've seen you on stream or chatting with us before, so welcome. Glad to have you here for your first time. Okay. All right. So Anderson, now that I've gone out a couple of times, really quickly, where would you suggest, from an asteroid perspective, where would you like to see me go and try and see what we can find? Is it still in the rings out there at Ela? I believe you said let's go for asteroids, right? Come on. Enter ship. Because again, today I don't have a crazy lot of time. I've got my niece's birthday party that I'm going to head off to here in just a little bit. So, um, again, talk to me here, bud. Is it the asteroids out here in Yela? Or do you need me to go somewhere else? OM5. Okay. All right, I'll take your guidance here and we'll go check it out and see what happens. Because like I said, I am perfectly happy to see if we can find something new with this. Alright, so we need OM5, right? That's 4. Comm station. It's a planet. Not worried about it. OM5. Alright, so we just hit OM5. So is it just head out to this thick zone right here and just run on into it? Alright, like I said, Anderson, we'll give you a go. We'll give you a shot. Let's see what happens. Now, see, when I first started the game and first got the prospector, right? I came out to some of these asteroids and I could never find anything. I always had to go to mining claims in order to be able to find stuff. So this will be really cool if it's just random asteroids that you can get out here and find at this point. Alright, once we get into the rocks, I'll turn to the left and go away from the sun. I actually better start slowing this guy down, or I'll never navigate the asteroid field. Do I have to go into the heart of this, or do I just kind of need to skirt the outskirts of this, Anderson? Anyone else getting a fishing vibe from mining in this game? Yeah, absolutely. Alright, yep. Definitely something. Although we gotta stare at the sun to make this one happen. Let's see if we can get past it and then turn around on it. Because right now this is kind of dangerous. I can't see any rocks whatsoever. So I'm going to purposely try and fly past it and come back. That rock. Way too quick. Alright. Why was that going on? We weren't even in cruise control. Ah, lovely sun. Okay. Let's see our rock. Let's go ahead and creep back over to it. Take a look. Yeah, you're not letting me scan. Yeah, it's not letting me scan this thing at all, regardless of what I do. Trying to reset through the different modes. It ain't picking up nothing on this guy. So we actually are going to have to move on from this rock, unfortunately, because if I can't scan it, I can't break it. Yep. Alright, moving on. We'll find another one. Let me find out why my speed was actually... It's just a little bit on the high side for being able to react. So now we're flying away from the sun. I have not overclocked the ping, by the way. Generally speaking, I don't overclock many things, so it's not something that I mess around with too much. Let's do this. Here's my power. There we go. So items. Helix. Overclock. Actually, I don't want to overclock the helix. Duh. Alright. Is it just me? Yep. About to get shot. There we are. Always fun. This is the... yeah. Okay. That sound was a missile. It was a missile lock from somebody who was showing green and decided that they just wanted to go ahead and go after a prospector that was sitting out in the asteroids right now. So, yeah. Welcome to Star Citizen, guys. Okay. But, hey, look at it like this. I didn't have any cargo on board. I only had some time invested. But, yeah. Anderson, I tried to give it a shot. There's not much I can say or do about that. That was just a Douchebag being a douchebag. I mean, I even looked at the radar, and the radar didn't show him as an enemy. It didn't show him with crime stat, nothing. So, um, I got about 15 minutes left, guys, before I have to leave to head to my niece's birthday party. I offer my protection services while you mine at cheap prices. So, Anderson, was that you sneaking up, or not Anderson, but Jelly, was that you sneaking up behind me just to shoot me for fun? Definitely stream sniped. That's how that works, right? All right. So I have everything stored all over the place, so it's really not worth sitting here waiting when I only have a few minutes left. The prospector doesn't take anything, person. It actually is one of the weakest ships in the game. You can almost sneeze on it and the damn thing will blow up. Um, but again, in most cases on on a planet side mining, if you choose random places on the planet to drop in and fly around, most of the time you will not see another ship, and that's what kind of protects it. So, you have Visual Studio Code, not Star. All right, so we're not blaming you, dude. It's just you're kind of making the funny comments like, go here, let's do this, and then all of a sudden, boom, blow up. All right, but it's still fun. It's still fun in games, guys. So if you haven't yet, I'm just gonna tab over here again. Like I said, I only got a few minutes left. Um, and then we're gonna raid into Bagonis's channel. He is live right now. So guys, he's one of my favorite Star Citizen um, streamers. And if you want to check him out, check him out. But if not, um, feel free once we go through the raid, just kind of pull back off and drop off the channel and do whatever. But this particular one, this particular space for games, Star Citizen Mining, if you look them up, this is really one of your most helpful pieces. And if you're new to the game, let me see if I can shrink that down a little. If you're new to the game, it goes through and explains a lot of tips and tricks and how to handle certain pieces of the game, certain things. Now it's added to how to handle Quantanium. There's also first-person mining. There's mole mining. It goes through a whole lot of stuff. So it's a really great guide if you're really wanting to learn what to do. It also goes through in this section right here, and it'll tell you in what locations you can drop the materials off at. Okay? So, again, guys, I'm going to go ahead and run a raid directly over into Bagonis because it is time for me to go ahead and call it. So, let's see here. For those of you that are in the Twitch stream, just stay in the chat even though I'm going to end the stream. So guys, I do appreciate it. Let's go back and do our Hall of Fame here for the day. Again, I like to recognize a lot of the people who are the firsts to do stuff on the channel. So we will leave them with the Hall of Fame. And again, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. Those of you on Twitch, stay put. I'm raiding directly over into